Hey guys, welcome back to Nina's Virtue. We've been hitting some hard truths these last few weeks, just reflecting on, our purpose and the plans that we've created to possibly pursue it in the best mindset possible. Let's understand that through trials and tribulations and on the journey of becoming your best self, sometimes there becomes a tension in your desire for wanting more. Let's be honest. Sometimes we suffer with the image of where we are and where we sense we're supposed to be. You feel more in your spirit and you feel greater. And somehow your eyes are defying how your mind believes the next season is pressing against your chest. But maybe God still has you here because he wants you to be in a posture of serving, learning, and remaining faithful. That type of tension can make you question yourself. I know for me, it makes me question my timing. It makes me question if I've heard God correctly and also my progress. But here's the truth. Revelation often comes before release. You can sense the future before you're allowed to step into it. And that gap, it's a frustration, but it's also where we can allow God to do his deepest work. So today, I want to bring to you the topic of servanthood. Being a servant is not glamorous. It's not something that you can tick off your box or you can possibly get points for, and it's rarely celebrated. And it doesn't feel like elevation, but it is the place where God watches how you handle the little things. This is an opportunity for God to prove you. And just from my own situations and my own, reflective moments, I've wanted to kind of go in depth on this topic because I do feel like for many of us, the season of servanthood feels difficult because serving feels like the opposite of elevation. When you feel more, serving feels like a step backward. But in the kingdom, service is the step forward. God promotes those who can carry weight without needing applause. Sometimes it feels hard because ambition wakes up before the assignment shifts. You can sense the next season before you're released into it. And that distance between where you are and what you believe to be true, what you believe you're supposed to be coming into, it creates this sense of frustration, doubt, fear. Not because you're wrong, but because you don't you aren't able to carry the understanding that God is actually working behind the scenes and forming the version of you who can hold what you are sensing and what he is doing inside of you. The season can feel difficult because serving exposes your motives. It reveals whether you want the platform or the purpose, the title or the transformation. Like, are you trying to be promoted? Or are you trying to have a posture of full humility towards God, doing exactly what he's called you to do? Service purifies what elevation will magnify. Serving requires humility that authority tests. Authority without humility becomes entitlement. Service keeps you grounded enough to carry what you prayed for. It's the safeguard against becoming the version of yourself success could distort. Lastly, serving is where God watches how you handle the small things. God needs to see that you can steward responsibility without recognition, to show him that your obedience isn't dependent on visibility. If you can be faithful here simply because you are trusting in me and you believe that I have you here for something greater, you're showing him that you can be trusted. You're showing him like, hey, we're ready for the next step. This can be done. There is a type of mercy that is given to us, granted to us when being hidden. Lamentations teaches us that God's mercy is new every morning. That means every day you wake up in the same place, doing the same work, serving in the same capacity, God is renewing you for it. Being hidden is not God ignoring you. It is not a lack of God's protection. Trust that He is shielding you, strengthening you, and preparing you. Visibility without maturity is dangerous. And if you are given a platform without your character being established, you may be destructive. Promotion without compassion is empty. God sometimes hides you to heal you, to shape you, to anchor you, or to prepare you for the weight of what's coming. Like, honestly, the more I do this podcast, I realize that there are also just some things that I'm growing through and things that are revealed to me in the time of me, expressing my story on this journey with you guys. God definitely had to, in a sense, isolate me and disrupt the format of my day-to-day life to heal and shape me for whatever He's about to do next. I needed to be able to let go of some things that were, one, no longer bearing fruit in my life, two, no longer allowing me to see God's goodness, meaning that though I could understand that the ending had came, though I could understand that I was growing, I was not able to see that God did it for the right reason. Sometimes we want things in our life that no longer fit, not recognizing that they have to depart from us to make space for whatever the new is God is bringing us. And this journey of my life is recognizing that though I am healing from people, from places, from even things that I thought I loved, it's really a sense of me learning myself again and anchoring myself in who God says that I am, so I can become the best version of myself to have the capacity to steward whatever He's bringing to me. If we can be honest, we can recognize that a lot of times complaining places us in a prison that doesn't allow us to see the goodness that is in the present. But I want to let you know that where you are right now is not a prison. It's a classroom. It's an opportunity for you to prove yourself to God, for you to be open to being trained and pruned for exactly where He is leading you. When you learn to be grateful here, and you learn to serve here, you see that being faithful here can unlock the maturity required for your next season. I have a few questions here that I feel is very important. I want to read to you guys Lamentations. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Is it Lamentations or hey, you know what I can do for all of us here today?
Lamentations.
Okay, so thank you. Lamentations. So I stumbled across Lamentations 3:22 to 27. And I'm going to read I think it's the Passion Translation. Yahweh's tender mercies have no end, and the kindness of His endless love is never exhausted. New, fresh mercies greet me with every sunrise. So wonderfully great is your faithfulness. I tell my soul, Yahweh is my abundant portion. I need nothing more, so I will put all my hope in Him. Yahweh is always good to all who trust in Him, to the soul who searches for Him. It is always good to hope, quietly waiting for Yahweh's deliverance. It is always good to learn patience and humility from a young age. What I understand immediately reading the last line, because I think it's something that I've had to grow to stand in the mirror and be like, girl, slow down, is learning patience and humility. Last week I talked about how I felt like, oh, God is telling me to leave this job. He's telling me to leave this job. And I had to sit down and have a real conversation with him where I was like, God, is it that you're telling me to leave this job, or that I am so stubborn and so far removed from reality that I am seeing myself bigger than where I am at right now? That I cannot actually be used in this moment as I've asked you to use me, and trust that where you have planted me is good enough. And in that moment, God was like, sometimes you're going to hear exactly what you want to hear to make the decision that you want to make sound good. But there are times where you will come to me and you will humble yourself before me and you will be honest with your request that allows you to hear my honest response. And from that, I was able to understand, like, girl, started from the bottom, now we here. You got to start from somewhere to get where you're going. And you have to be open to trusting that if God called you somewhere, it's because he needs you there. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what it feels like. And I think the perfect example is Joseph when he was in the prison. His moral compass put him in a place where it was almost like he could have decided after that, like, oh, I'm going to be a horrible person. But instead, he still stood on his faithfulness and he still trusted that God was going to make a way, because he surely was in the wilderness. Based off of my reflection from Lamentations, I'm going to break it down. A true servant is willing to serve even when the reward is delayed. I want to express to you that mercy sustains the servant. God is our portion. And in this, we must know that waiting is a part of serving. The yoke we take up is preparation. It's not meant to be punishment. So now I have a few questions that I'm going to answer for myself, but I also want you to take time this week to answer for yourself to see how are you serving, if you're open to serving, or if you have actually taken on the role of servanthood in your journey of your becoming. If God promoted me today, would my character sustain it? You know what I can say, a lot of the times in the past, my desires before I was actually building a faithful, fruitful relationship with God, a lot of my desires in the past were very much like, because people hurt me, because people made me feel the way, I was like, oh, this needs to pop off for me so I can show other people. And it's like, no. Doing this, building this platform has made it very clear to me that a lot of the gifts that I possess are purely for God and God alone. And that when I use them, I should be using them to satisfy him. If he promoted me today, I know that my character would still struggle with some things, because I do still need to work on my communication. I do still need to work on being on time. I do need to work on showing up even when I feel like I'm showing up to something that I'm better than. Because really living the life of a servant is understanding that in this world, we are truly all equal. And because we are all equal, I am not better than you and you are not better than the next. I understand that we live in a society where it's enforced, or ingrained in them to think that they're better than other people so they can continue living on their lives without having some type of resentment towards a group of people. But in reality, as God's child, I have to recognize that I'm really living on this earth with my brothers and sisters. And in that, we are all his children. And for that alone, if God asks me to lessen myself to help one of his children, I should be able to do that. And I'm working on that right now. I'm trying to get better, but it's taking time. Another question is, am I overlooking where I am because I'm obsessed with where I'm going? I started school in the midst of January and I was keeping up with the episodes. And then last week and this week, it's been pretty tough for me. And I've been kind of like overlooking the work. Because just because God is elevating you doesn't mean that you're supposed to stop doing your part because you see things changing. And I think that I kind of took like a back seat, and I don't feel good about it. I feel like me even having this moment and being able to talk about it says a lot. But it shows me that sometimes we call a season small when it's actually foundational. If God would have elevated my podcast in the beginning of January and then I started not being able to post consistently in February, my time would have came too soon. And in that, I actually would not have been ready for where he is putting me. So I feel like right now God is putting me in a place to learn how to balance. I'm asking for this career. I'm asking for this divine elevation, and in that means that I'm going to need a schedule, I'm going to need a calendar, I'm going to need to put up boundaries, to say no to certain things, to know how to place my energy in one place and not the other, to be able to fulfill my duty to Christ first above anything else. And that emphasizes verses 22 and 23 where it says that his mercy is daily, meaning that I really do need to worry about today. And in me worrying about today and seeing that his mercies are new every day, that though I am not going to worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will worry about itself, I can actually take care of today in a way that it counts in the long run and doesn't affect what God is building in me. It doesn't set me back. Lastly, can I serve faithfully without applause? Could it be that your season of servanthood is the heart of your hidden seasons? Verse 26 says, "It is good to wait quietly." Quiet seasons will test your motives. It will let you know if you're doing the right thing, if you heard God correctly, or if you made that idea up in your head, and if you're actually doing it the way he wants you to do it, or you're doing it the way you see fit because you believe that it'll bear you fruit quickly. You have to be mindful of the things that you are asking for, but also be mindful of the way that you are surrendering to the call, because it can really delay the progress if you are not actually tying yourself to be one with the Holy Spirit so that you may be led properly to your promise. So if you're in a season where you feel like there could be more, but God still has you serving, don't misinterpret the assignment. You're being positioned, developed, and held. And when the time comes, when your season shifts, you won't just step into it, you'll be ready for it. Because you were faithful in the quiet, you served when it didn't look like elevation, and you stayed when you wanted to run. Allow God to form you before he promotes you. Your next breakthrough is not random. It's the fruit of your faithfulness, and heaven has been watching. Thanks, guys, for joining me here. Leave a comment. Let me know what you are doing in your life to be amazing in your season of serving, in your season of being hidden. And tell me how that makes you feel. See you guys next week.